Welcome to another episode of Savagetimetv. Today I have Donovan Womack, head coach at McKean HS. How you feeling today, bro?
Yeah, I feel blessed, man. I'm just happy to be here, man. I appreciate you having me.
No problem, bro. Shout out to Kalaj. I see you got some of his stuff on today.
Absolutely, man. Shout out my boy.
Him, bro. But just starting off, man, this coronavirus is really crazy, bro. How's coronavirus affecting you day to day?
Well, first and foremost, like, yes, it's crazy. And day to day, like, I'm not going to work. Like, I literally today I had 3 hours of meetings with students from the school I work with and my staff. We're not able to go to class and things like that. So that's the first and most important thing that's affecting. It's affecting my work.
Okay. And let's just get right into basketball, bro. When did you know that basketball, in some sort, was something that you would passionately pursue?
I fell in love with the game from day one. I mean, like, I know everyone says, I remember when I was a kid, this, that, and the third, but, like, I know for a fact I was a kid and that's all I watched. My mom said when I was a baby, if a commercial came on, I'd start crying, thinking she changed the channel when I was watching Michael Jordan. So as a kid, I always loved the game. That's all I did. That's all I had in my hand was a basketball at all times. That was a sport I chose from about age 4 or 5.
Okay. And I was telling some people before, like, you know, me and you, we both attended Del Castle. I was there for my freshman year, and I was even telling people, you know, about the William Penn fight that happened, how crazy that was, and just how, like, they talk about sometimes how the modern game is maybe not as softer. And I was like, bro, I don't know what you guys are talking about, because back in the day we used to get it in. Can you just tell us a little bit about just your high school basketball career, just balling at Del Castle, how that was?
Playing at Del Castle was an eye-opener. When I was young, my district would have took my feeder system would have took me to Glasgow High School. I went to Gallagher College Middle School. I could have went to Glasgow. I chose to take the easier route and go to Del Castle, thinking that it would give me an opportunity to play right away with ease. And it was a shock. I didn't realize that. We were loaded. My freshman year, I think we had 9 guys playing JV. As freshmen, we had 3 or 4 playing varsity and JV. I was one of the 3 or 4. I didn't play a lot. I was small as hell. I was like 120, 30 pounds soaking wet. My jersey barely fit, but I could shoot the shit out of the ball. But playing at Del Castle, I learned that guys are hungry. And high school game is the beginning of seeing what playing like grown men could be like. We had college players. We had guys that could have went pro. We had a stacked team. We were very dangerous. And one thing I learned is that you can't take it for granted. And playing at Del Castle, I learned how to fight day in and day out. We battled, we grinded. We had about 20 guys that could have played varsity at any program in the state.
That's a fact. I definitely remember we were loaded. We had a lot of people. Shout out to T-Bob, Xavier. If you guys watching this, just some people that I remember, Alex Hackett, a lot of them guys, man. We had a lot of ballers. Even the women's team, the ladies team was crazy good. Like I tell people, man, there was a 2-3 year run there at Del Castle where it was a farm system, bro.
Hey, my freshman year, there was Jabril Bailey, Neil Skinner, Ryan Congo, Marquise George. Like they were class of 06.
Year, bro. He's playing in the NFL now. Like, it's crazy.
From 06 to about 2012, from what I remember, 2013, Del Castle could go. They were one of the best teams in the state, like program-wise, period. We had guys.
Top to bottom, bro. And when did the interest of wanting, to play ball, when did that shift to coaching?
It shifted, honestly, right around the time I started working in the Red Clay School District. It was something I told myself I wasn't a huge fan of corporate America. I tried that with internships and things like that in college. I always knew I wanted to help people, and there was a need for a coach, and they told me I would be a real good guy for the job to help out. And I started out as a freshman coach just because I wanted to help, to affect kids. I knew if I was coaching the freshman team, I can catch kids a little early before they start some of their bad habits, start thinking they know everything, and boy, was I wrong. They still think they know everything then. But around that time, they offered me a job. I said, why not? It's right here for me. I never thought I would be a coach, but I like helping people. I feel like that's what God put me here to do, and it's deeper than basketball when it comes to being a head coach.
Yeah, definitely, man. You being a head coach, man, congrats to that again. And I just saw that's a great leadership role to have in a community. You're affecting so many people, influencing so many. But it's day one. Take us back to that. Day one of head coaching, first day on the job. What's going through your mind, man?
First thing going through my mind is how can I run these guys into shape? Honestly though, I just want to get guys ready, get to know who was who, and get a hold of guys in their grades. I feel like a big issue is that coaches aren't able to to do everything. And it's hard. It was impossible for me to find every kid in the building. Like, I work in a special needs program. I'm not around the general ed kids every day, but I was able to, with the help of a lot of staff members and colleagues in the building with me, I was able to find which kid was in which classroom, who needed help where, and that type of thing. And that was the first thing I wanted to kind of find out, what kids needed on and off the court, and figure out how I could help immediately.
Exactly, bro. And I think you're definitely probably, I haven't seen it firsthand, but I know you're out there doing it. Like I said, because being a head coach, like, I just think that's so great, bro. Like, as you're showing people that you don't always have to, even if you don't always play basketball at the highest level, you can make an impact and it can be a part of your life on the daily.
Absolutely.
So I think that's awesome, bro. And what has been the biggest obstacle you've overcame as a coach so far?
Time management, not only for myself but for these kids. Like, people say it all the time. They say, kids make excuses. They say some of these kids just don't listen. Some of these kids are bad kids. And a good friend of mine, Reggie Harris, said the same thing. He learned that there's no such thing as a bad kid. Like, and a lot of these kids are in situations and are facing circumstances that they can't help. Some of these kids are raising their family members. They are the only person in the household that might be able to be a breadwinner. So some of these kids are not only high school kids, they're parents, they're providers, and trying to figure out how I can not push a kid away by saying, look, I need your time for these 2 hours, but by also saying, look, I understand. And I try to teach a lot of these kids that you just have to reach out and ask somebody for help. People helped me my entire life, and I think that's the biggest thing that I figured out as a coach. Like, let me go back and remember who helped me and how they went about doing so, and me being patient with people's time and figuring out how to manage that.
Okay, time management. That's definitely a skill that I think is just can apply to all life. But I definitely see now what you're talking about. Just like I never looked at it like that, because you definitely got to give those kids to give you those 2 hours every day, even more some days.
More than that, you need more.
Yeah, for sure. And could you just, I know the coronavirus has put things at a slow, but could you, just absent of all that, just give us maybe your goals for the next 2 or 3 years concerning McKean basketball?
I ultimately just want to increase the amount of kids that go to college or go to do bigger and better things than they can see here in this state. I feel like it's not about basketball. I played with plenty of kids and I've been that kid. I'm not a professional basketball player. I always wanted to be, but I learned early that the basketball will stop bouncing. So I want to figure out how to teach the kids that it's not the end of the world when you're not playing basketball for money, when that clout is gone of being a basketball player. A lot of people face identity crisis when they can't be that guy they were in high school, can't be that superior athlete when they go to another place. So I want people to realize that basketball is deeper. Sports in general is deeper than individual achievement. It's about how much you can learn, how much you can impact others, and you never know what your teammate's going through. You never know who your teammate can end up being with your support. So I'm just trying to teach everybody. My big thing is one team, one goal. And it's just about everyone getting better one day at a time.
All right, bro. I definitely agree with that. And I know, again, the NBA was cut short. We was robbed of that. Just I think it was a great season. But could you just give us, who do you think was going to win the NBA title this year?
Lakers.
Lakers?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I asked you. I think it was just written in stone for LeBron to cap that off, man, for sure.
Absolutely. This was the year he was going to win. There's going to be an asterisk next to it because KD wasn't playing and Steph and those guys weren't playing. They were going to judge him. Everyone gives LeBron such a hard time because he's such a humble GOAT. Like, he's not the same type of GOAT he's not the same type of GOAT that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is, because if he was the same type of guy they were, he'd be out here acting like Russell Westbrook on steroids. He'd be getting 40, 20, and 20 triple doubles. Like, it'd be crazy. Like, but he's so humble and relaxed that people think he's not a GOAT because he doesn't act like a GOAT.
Exactly. Oh, what they perceive as to be a GOAT.
Yeah, what they perceive to be a GOAT.
Exactly. Shifting the focus, coronavirus has definitely pushed artists and creatives to put out a lot more content, especially with music. Could you just give us some things that you're listening to that you like that's been dropped this year, musically, 2020?
I've been listening to a lot of R&B more often. I listen to Brent Faiyaz. I think he's one of the best artists around. I was listening to, who else have I been listening to? I listen to so much music. Conway, I was listening to his album. I think that was dope. Core. Listen to my boy 10,000, one of my artists I work with. I listen to a lot of music. Music's big for me. I listen to podcasts, so when I'm listening to Joe Budden podcasts, I find new artists here and there every day. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, bro. And like you were talking about, you're also a manager for multiple artists. Could you just tell us how you got into that?
Honestly, a friend of mine, we started out as teammates. Honestly, my boy John, 10,000, he played basketball with me in college. Upon graduating, when I was going to school in Cabrini, he decided to really start pursuing music strong, and I figured since I'm going to school for marketing, why not kind of dabble in that with him? And I ended up falling in love with it almost as much as I fell in love with basketball. So it's just something that I really like. I think entertainment and arts and sports all kind of goes hand in hand because it involves a team atmosphere, involves working hard and ultimately reaching a goal.
Okay. Could you give us just a quick summary of both your artists, just like what kind of music they make, what they're about? Good.
Well, 10,000 makes hip hop music. You know what I mean? He's a rap artist. He's not just a rapper like a lot of people say. He has a lot of traits that you would see in a lot of different leaders. He wants to help others. He wants to kind of push a message of people of self-love. A lot of people out here are like too busy flaunting and stunting and things like that. I feel like there's not enough room for people to kind of show that you can be okay with who you are and stuff like that in your own skin. So a lot of my artists pretty much just push that. That's their resume.
Okay. And something that I've just noticed throughout this interview, you being a head coach, you managing artists, that you seem to always be in a leadership position. Have you always seen yourself in that light as a leader?
Absolutely not, to be honest. I've always been an individual, and at a young age, I didn't realize being a leader required you to be an individual. I've always been different. I've always been the quiet kid. Like, this is one of my first times really being in front of the camera as a focal point. It's new to me, but I realized that when you're different and when you're an individual, it draws attention here and there. So I've never really seen it happening, but it's something that's kind of been coming to me natural. So and yeah, I don't know. It's new to me, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
Okay. And what would you say? What's the biggest difference between, if any, between Coach Donovan and Don Liv, the artist manager?
Not much of a difference. I'm more patient as a coach because I realize these guys are kids. Some of them don't know better. Some of them need that time. At the same time, I need it and still need to learn. Me, the manager, I'm very serious. I'm very serious as a coach. I work my ass off. I don't waste time. One thing I always like to say is make every grain count. You never know, like with the hourglass, you never know when that grain is the last grain. So every single second of the day, I'm trying to do something with my mind and something with my time that allows me to help someone else or help myself.
Okay. And when it comes to coaching and being an artist manager, are there people that you look up to, influences? Could you talk to us about that?
Honestly, I try to read a lot. Like I don't really pay attention to other individuals and what they do because everyone's story is different. I can't copy what someone might have did with this artist because they might have had a different financial situation. They might come from a different background. I just try to ear hustle as much as possible. I listen to a lot of things. I might listen to some music that people will be like, how do you listen to that? But it's something to learn from everything. I'm honestly just a sponge. I don't really have an individual that I pay attention to and look up to and emulate or anything like that. I just kind of learn as I go along. I've been doing this for so long that like trials and tribulations have really taught me.
Okay. And moving forward, just with the artist management and just music, what are y'all's upcoming plans? Any upcoming music projects? Anything?
Yeah, we got some stuff coming on the way. No names for it yet, but he's always working. You know what I mean, we're always working. It's just like getting shots up. If you're an artist, if you're a coach, if you're anything, if you're not trying to perfect your craft every single day, you're failing yourself. Like I was looking at an interview from King Carter, the guy that helps out with the baby. He was saying he said every missed day is like a missed week in hip hop. And every missed week is like a missed day. So like you gotta pretty much every single time that you wake up, you should be trying to do something to advance your mind. Whether it's just doing something to meditate, whether it's drinking a glass of water and just looking outside and enjoying the fact that you're living. Like you gotta do something to kind of keep yourself grounded and stimulated at all times. So that's all I try to do.
Okay, I can respect that for real, man. And wrapping it up, like I said, you're in a lot of positions where you are definitely influencing a lot of people, and a lot of people, even if you know it or not, are probably looking up to you, watching you, trying to see how you move, just to see how, like, man, just as an inspiration, because you're doing a lot of positive work. So, especially to the youth, and if there was a message you could give to those people watching, just about following your dreams, stimulating your mind, what would that message be?
Be yourself and just show love. You never know who someone is and who they could become, or what you could do for each other. Like iron sharpens iron. Like I got a lot of friends that I'm still cool with to this day, you included, that back when we were young, I never knew who was going to be what. And have you ever seen me treating anyone wrong since we were kids? I've always been a relaxed guy. So I feel like if you just be yourself, treat others the right way, you never know what that can do for just the future of the world in general. So I just try to make sure people understand that. That's why I try to teach my kids, just show love, spread love.
Word, bro. And again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to sit down with you to share your story, man, on my platform. It's been great. This was a wonderful interview, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Keep doing what you're doing, because you're definitely out here impacting a lot of people positively.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This is another episode of Savagetimetv. Again, this is Donovan Womack, Don Live, head coach Thomas of McKean High School, bro. Check him out. And that's another episode. Check you guys out. Peace.